Hello. Good afternoon. I'm trying to see if I can hear myself. Hello. Check, check, check. Yes, I can. Very good, very good. Happy Bloomsday, everyone. So, you have the little program for today, the sheet. Tells you what we're going to do basically. It's nothing fancy. I'm going to sit throughout most of it because I'm not the feature. I'm just here to lead you. So welcome to Lunch with Books, and very importantly, because we have readers today, please silence your cell phones so that they're not interrupted. Appreciate that. If you haven't done so, I would encourage you at some point to visit Midge's hot dog stand. She's here just for today, outside the main entrance, which is where the big parking lot is. It's $5 for a plain hot dog, and then she has toppings. Very good. I had 2 vegan dogs, and they're delicious. You can't get vegan dogs that good anywhere else. This Thursday, don't hate me because I'm vegan, okay? This Thursday evening at 7 p.m., we're going to have the Juneteenth Band, which features one of our own, Logan Seidler, who works here at the library, and 3 of his friends, on a journey through the history of black music. Now, this is for Juneteenth. They will be presenting the full program Friday evening at Market Plaza, but you can hear the preview here this Thursday at 7. And then next week on June 23rd, Tony Perry will be here. He's been here a couple other times, but he has a relatively new book about matchbook covers related to wheeling. And so it's very interesting. That'll be Tuesday, June 23rd. So what is Bloomsday? Well, it celebrates Thursday, 16 June 1904, which is the day immortalized. It's a one-day book in the novel Ulysses, which I know all of you have read and loved. It is regarded by many of the snobbish group of English professors, etc., as one of the great novels ever written. And today we'll try to find out more why that is, because it's more than you might think. The day is named after Leopold Bloom. This was Joyce's sketch of Leopold Bloom when he was asked what he looked like. That's what I put on my shirt. One of the novel's protagonists, and it follows his life and thoughts, as well as those of Stephen Dedalus and other characters throughout this day in Dublin, as I said, in 1904. There are many different celebrations of this day all over the world. We are part of that global situation, which I'll tell you about. It's celebrated by Joyceans and admirers of literature across the globe, one of Dublin, Ireland's largest festivals, boasting nearly 100 separate events throughout the city and drawing in thousands of visitors from around the world. Bloomsday is unparalleled as a literary and cultural festival and phenomenon. This event, as I mentioned, is part of the global celebration for the 3rd year. This is our 3rd year. And we're proud to represent the city and state in partnership with the James Joyce Center in Dublin, Ireland, and all of global Bloomsday cities across the world, which includes Athens, Greece, New York City, Warsaw, Poland, Zurich, Switzerland, just to name a few. We'll see more. We'll begin our program by taking a quick look at Dublin of 1904 compared to Wheeling of 1904. I did this one the other time. But keep in mind that Ulysses was published as a serial in a magazine called Little Review in New York in 1920. So he actually wrote it in 1914. It's published in America in 1920. A particularly naughty section was caught the attention of the daughter of a New York lawyer. Many of you who've read the book know what section I'm talking about. And she referred it to this little tattletale, referred it to the New York Society for the Suppression of Vice. The New York Society for the Suppression of Vice. A prosecution was launched, and the editors of Little Review were taken to court and fined for publishing an obscene work. The decision meant that the entire United States It was prohibited from publishing, I think, until the 30s. Other countries, including the UK, followed suit, as they used to do. And now, let me start the 1904 here. I mentioned Global Bloomsday, and you can see our little entry right there. There's DC and San Francisco, Atlanta, Dakar, and there's a little Wheeling right in the middle of it all. And there are literally hundreds of Global Bloomsday participants, so we're right in there. We actually are calling it Lunch with Bloom, and that's what Bloom looked like in one of the movies. And like I mentioned, the hot dog cart's out there. Feel free to leave at any time if you want to get one. And so let's take a look at Wheeling in 1904. We are 3,473 miles from Dublin, Ireland. I've flown there a few times. It's a long flight. It's 6 hours. That seems long. I just drove 11 hours each way to Myrtle Beach. But the flight is 6 hours. And so there you can see you're going over the Atlantic Ocean. This is what Dublin looked like at the time that Ulysses is set, not when it was written. He had left Dublin by then. He was in Paris. And that's just what Mr. Bloom might have looked like, overlooking Dublin to Sackville Street and O'Connell Street right down through the heart of the city. Who were the people in Wheeling at that time, the known people? Well, Augustus Pollock was 74 years old. Rebecca Harding Davis was 73 years old. The escaped slave, and Sarah Lucy Bagby was 71 years old. Anton Raymond Brewery, 66. Harry Schmalbach, his rival, 59. Dr. Harriet Jones, the first female doctor in the state of West Virginia, was 48. Big Bill Elias, 3 years old. That's 1904. Doc White, famous for the black neighborhood, was also 3 years old. Sacred Heart Church was being built in North Wheeling, would open in August 1904. The Elks Building at 15th and Oaf was being built and would open in September. Victoria Theater opened 1904. Construction of the Schmalbach Tower building had just begun. There's a picture of it being under construction. Here are some views of Wheeling from that era, from that year, specifically 1904. You can see it looked like an English village or maybe an Irish village. There's a Market Street. That's the McClure on the left. Here's another view of the river. View up, looking up Market, and you can see the professional building there. Here's the wharf. This is the Woodsdale area of town in 1904. And this is a famous pub that's in the book, Ulysses, and I've been there a few times. They have a little plaque outside. Each place that's in the book has a little Ulysses bronze plaque. And in this one, in the book, he says, "A good puzzle would be cross Dublin without passing a pub." Which is true. Very difficult thing to do. There were 400,000 people in Dublin in 1904, and there were 40,000 in Wheeling, which is more than now. Here's a Wheeling pub from that era, and of course you would order Schmalbach beer, so that in there. Just to remind you, because there were 15 blacksmiths in Wheeling in 1904, 5 bathing parlors, 2 of which were Turkish, 6 brewers, 60 butchers, 12 carriage manufacturers, 50 cigar makers, 200 plus grocers, 11 hat sellers, try to find one now, other than Walmart, 9 ice dealers, 18 stables, and 193 saloons. Not too bad, not shabby. You might not have been able to cross Wheeling without passing pub. The weather on that day, June 16, 1904, it's referring to yesterday, but that's because it was June 17 that I got this from. Not very delightful. The sky was overcast all during the day, and the rain, which began at 9:30 in the morning, lasted well into the afternoon, but at no time did it amount to much. The 7 o'clock morning temperature was 63, from which it ran up to 75, I think, with the barometer at noon at 29.48 inches. The indications for today are a trifle dubious. What was happening on that day? Well, graduation from Bethany was happening. And at the Palace, you could buy a spittoon at the Palace Furniture Company, 54 cents for a spittoon. You could also have your undertaking done there, get the coffin made. And you could buy shoes, ladies' shoes, for $2.98 at McFadden's. And for men, $1.55 a pair at Locke. And Oxford's, more shoes, $3. This was a high-end shoe. At Logan's, the drug company, was the type of store that Leopold Bloom and Ulysses would have gone to shop and wrote ad copy for. That was his job, he wrote ads. Only in Ireland, it would have been called Logan Chemist rather than drug company. You could get 5-cent soap. Not sure if lemon was an option. You could get blood builders, smelling salts, kidney and liver tea, half remedy kidney cure, shoe polish, face bleach, potash lye, mothballs, plasters, pile cure for hemorrhoids, and of course, gold paint, marshmallows, and chewing gum. All at Logan's general store, basically. Some things I wrote 2 years ago when I showed this, some things never change, and this time I had to put in, sometimes they do, because they were complaining in 1904 of the bad streets and the holes and, all that stuff. And so it changed a little bit. And under Something's Never Changed, the water question, people were complaining about the bad quality of the water, and it was hurting business, et cetera, et cetera. There was a fight. Two miners fought in St. Clairsville, and miner knocked down and kicked into insensibility by his companion. That was June 16th, 1904. In the field of sport, the Stogies lost to Evansville, 5-1. And you could go and get some asbestos-lined ovens at Stone and Thomas for $2.15. You could get a refrigerator, they were calling it, for $8.90. Under true crime, a fiend was poisoning dogs on the island. Joe Hartley was arrested near the Sisters Island, which was where the amusement park was in Moorwood, and arraigned on charges of burglarizing the casino and for destruction of property. And then there's the notorious Mrs. Alice Bradford, who ran a house of ill repute on Alley C, which is over where the upper market used to be. And so it was right there. And here's a closer look at Alley C. She was found guilty and for 1 year in jail, sentenced by Judge Hugas, and that was for basically trafficking young women. The Hub was a store where Poldy, and there's this drawing I'm wearing, would have bought his hats because they sold hats. And they had practically unlimited assortment at that time, including straw. It's very common in Ireland, and the serge blue and the bowler hats, all different styles for 50 cents up to $5. Some of them, Panamas were expensive, $7.50 to $15. I don't know why they were so much more. There's Mr. Joyce in his bowler. Civics Women's Club was formed by the aforementioned Harriet Jones, and she was president. This is her pictured in later years. She was the first woman licensed to practice medicine in West Virginia. That happened. Here's some headlines. And this was a terrible story that had a Wheeling connection. The General Slocum in New York caught a fire and sank and killed 500 people. It's the worst maritime until the Titanic, I believe, in the United States. And here's some pictures from that awful event. So that happened on the 16th, and this is a headline from the 17th. And this says 700 dead. And the Russo-Japanese War was also the other big story in 1904, and Japan ended up winning that war to the shock of the world, defeating Russia, which is the beginning of the Japanese rise. Which brings us to our readings. Are the readers ready? Okay. First up, we have the splendid Mr. Jamie Hamilton, who'll be reading from the beginning of chapter 4, Ulysses, the chapter known as Calypso. And here's your microphone, sir. Better wait till you hear the reading.
Thanks, friends. Happy Bloomsday. Thanks. The last time I read the beginning of the book. This time I'm going to be reading the introduction to Mr. Bloom. Mr. Leopold Bloom ate with relish the inner organs of beasts and fowls. He liked thick giblet soup, nutty gizzards, a stuffed roast heart, liver slices fried with crust crumbs, fried hen cod's roes. Most of all, he liked grilled mutton kidneys, which gave to his palate a fine tang of faintly scented urine. Kidneys were in his mind as he moved about the kitchen softly, writing her breakfast things on the humpy tray. Jellied light and air were in the kitchen, but out of doors, gentle summer morning everywhere made him feel a bit peckish. The coals were reddening. Another slice of bread and butter. 3, 4. Right. She didn't like her plate full. Right. He turned from the tray, lifted the kettle off the hob, and set it sideways on the fire. It sat there, dull and squat, its spout stuck out. Cup of tea soon. Good. Mouth dry. The cat walked stiffly round a leg of a table with tail on high. Meow. Oh, there you are, Mr. Bloom said, turning from the fire. The cat mewed in answer and stalked again stiffly round a leg of a table, mewing. Just how she stalks over my writing table. Purr. Scratch my head. Purr. Mr. Bloom watched curiously, kindly, the lithe black form, clean to see the gloss of her sleek hide, the white button under the butt of her tail, the green flashing eyes. He bent down to her, his hands on his knees. Milk for the pussins, he said. Meow, the cat cried. They call them stupid. They understand what we say better than we understand them. She understands all she wants to. Vindictive, too. Wonder what I look like to her. Height of a tower? No, she can jump me. Afraid of the chickens, she is, he said mockingly. Afraid of the chook-chooks. I never saw such a stupid pussins as the pussins. Cruel, her nature. Curious mice never squeal. Seem to like it. Meow, the cat said loudly. She blinked up out of her avid, shame-closing eyes, mewing plaintively and long, showing him her milk-white teeth. He watched the dark eye slits narrowing with greed till her eyes were green stone. Then he went to the dresser, took the jug Hanlon's milkman had just filled for him, poured warm bubbled milk on a saucer and set it slowly on the floor. Grrr, she cried, running to lap. He watched the bristles shining wirely in the weak light as she tipped 3 times and licked lightly. Wonder is it true, if they clip them you can't mouse after? Why? They shine in the dark, perhaps, the tips. Or kind of feelers in the dark, perhaps. He listened to her licking lap. Ham and eggs? No. No good eggs with this drought. Want pure fresh water. Thursday. Not a good day either for a mutton kidney at Buckley's, fried with butter, a shake of pepper. Better a pork kidney at Gluck's. While the kettle is boiling, she lapped slower, then licking the saucer clean. Why are their tongues so rough? To lap better? All porous holes? Nothing she could eat? He glanced round him. No. On quietly creaky boots, he went up the staircase to the hall, paused by the bedroom door. She might like something tasty. Thin bread and butter she likes in the morning. Still, perhaps, once in a way. He said softly in the bare hall, I'm going round the corner, back in a minute. And when he heard his voice say it, he added, You don't want anything for breakfast? A sleepy, soft grunt answered, Well, thank you very much. Yep.
You tell we had a lot of rehearsal? And now let's bring up. Oh, there you are. The stupendous, gregarious, magnanimous, and wonderful Bridget Major.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for having me again. I don't know, this moved, so can you hear me with this? It's, yes, thank you. I'm sorry.
I broke the microphone, but it wasn't me.
It wasn't me. I just got here. Oh, okay. Well, that's very personal. I'll take it. I'll be reading Molly Bloom's soliloquy. Just so you know, it may seem to you disjointed, but it is her stream of consciousness. She's thinking about many, many things. So it may seem all over the place, but I hope I clarify the changes for you. I love flowers. I'd love to have the whole place swimming in roses. God of heaven, there's nothing like nature. The wild mountains, then the sea, and the waves rushing, then the beautiful country with the fields of oats and wheat and all kinds of things, and all the fine cattle going about. That would do your heart good, to see rivers and lakes and flowers, all sorts of shapes and smells and colors springing up, even out of the ditches. Primroses and violets, nature it is. And as for them saying there's no God, I wouldn't give a snap of my 2 fingers for all their learning. Why don't they go and create something, I often ask him. Atheists, or whatever they call themselves, go and wash the cobbles off themselves first, then they go howling for the priest, and they dying. And why? Why? Because they're afraid of hell on account of their bad conscience. Oh, yes, I know them well. Who was the first person in the universe before there was anybody that made it all? Who? That they don't know. Well, neither do I, but so there you are. They might as well try and stop the sun from rising tomorrow. The sun shines for you, he said, the day we were lying among the rhododendrons on Hoth Head, in the gray tweed suit and his straw hat, the day I got him to propose to me. Yes. Well, first I gave him a bit of the seed cake out of my mouth, and it was leap year like it is now. Yes, and 16 years ago. My God. After that long kiss, I nearly lost my breath. Yes. He said I was a flower of the mountain. Yes. So we are flowers all, a woman's body. Yes. That was one true thing he said in his life. And the sun shines for you today. Yes. That was why I liked him. Because I saw he understood or felt what a woman is. And I knew I could always get round him. And I gave him all the pleasure I could, leading him on until he asked me to say yes, and I wouldn't answer at first, only looked out over the sea and the sky. I was thinking of so many things. He didn't know of Mulvey and Mr. Stanhope and Hester and Father and old Captain Groves and the sailors playing All Birds Fly. And I say, stoop, washing up dishes, they called it on the pier. And the sentry in front of the governor's house with the thing around his white helmet, poor devil, half roasted. And the Spanish girls laughing in their shawls and their tall hair combs. And the auctions in the morning, the Greeks and the Jews and the Arabs and the devil knows who else from all the ends of Europe, and Duke Street and the Fowl Market all clucking outside Larby Sharon's, and the poor donkeys slipping half asleep, and the vague fellows in the cloaks asleep in the shade of the steps, and the big wheels of the carts of the bulls, and the old castle thousands of years old. Yes. Those handsome Moors, all in white and turbans like kings, asking you to sit down in their little bit of a shop. And Rhonda with the old windows of the posadas, 2 glancing eyes and a lattice hid for her lover to kiss the iron. And the wine shops half open at night, and the castanets, and the night we missed the boat at Algeciras. The watchman going about serene with his lamp, and oh, that awful deep-down torrent of the sea crimson sometimes like fire, and the glorious sunsets. And the fig trees in the Alameda Gardens, yes. And all the queer little streets, and the pink and blue and yellow houses, and the rose gardens, and the jessamine and geraniums and cactuses, and Gibraltar as a girl where I was a flower of the mountain. Yes. When I put the rose in my hair like the Andalusian girls used? Or shall I wear a red? Yes. And how he kissed me under the Moorish wall, and I thought, well, as well him as another. And then I asked him with my eyes to ask again. Yes. And then he asked me, would I? Yes, to say yes, my mountain flower. And first, I put my arms around him. Yes, and I drew him down to me so he could feel my breasts all perfume. Yes. And his heart was going like mad. And yes, I said, yes, I will. Yes.
That's how it's done. Round of applause for our readers. All right, now we're going to bring our featured guest on, but she's coming on by Zoom. So give me a minute to get that set up. Your patience is appreciated. stand by. Can I have Amanda, please? This is Sean. We'll just edit this out later. Can I have maybe Laura? I was trying to get Amanda. Okay, can you give me Laura, please? Thank you. I'm trying to get a code. You know, I couldn't just log in without a code. Ethan, do you know the login for the reference lunch page? Email. Ask her and see if she knows. Can you transfer me the reference? Okay, let's see. Hello? I am not Laura Carroll. There she is. I am so sorry. There. Obviously, we had technical difficulties, and yeah, I can hear. Can you hear me? Okay, so you can hear me. We had a bit of a delay. Okay, there's a bit of a delay on the sound. All right. That was from a minute ago. Well, folks, we're now being joined by, from Paris, by Joyce scholar Vicki Mahaffey, English professor at the University of Illinois, and author of The Joyce of Everyday Life, which celebrates this book, The Power of Language to Preserve and Multiply Lived Experiences Across Time and Space. So, Vicki, you'll get this in a minute. It's like I'm talking to you on the moon. But you will please tell us a little bit about yourself and your book, and then I'll have questions after that. I'm going to turn you around so you can see the audience, with any luck. There it is.
I'm not going to tell you much about myself. What I will tell you is that I wrote The Joyce of Everyday Life because I wanted to try and give people a sense of what I had learned over a lifetime of teaching James Joyce, and to communicate the joy with which he approaches language and literature, and the extent to which it's an invitation to people to read with him, to laugh with him, to enjoy the incredible versatility of words. James Joyce, and to communicate the joy with which he approaches language.
Julie, can you hit the HDMI wall
and
again, please?
the extent to which it's an invitation to people to read with him, to laugh with him, to enjoy the incredible versatility of words.
Okay, Vicki, now I will ask you this twice. You'll hear it twice. You say in your book that Joyce has been accused of flaunting his erudition. I think a lot of people here might agree with that. Did Joyce deliberately show off? And if so, why? Okay, Vicki, now I will ask you this twice.
Okay.
You'll hear it twice.
Mm-hmm.
You say in your book that Joyce has been accused of flaunting his erudition. I think a lot of people here might agree with that. Uh, did Joyce deliberately show off? And if so, why?
Well, I used to think that.
Okay. You say in your book that Joyce has been accused of flaunting his very edition. I think a lot of people would agree, everybody agree with that. Joyce deliberately showed off. And if so, why?
Well, I used to think that. I don't know when exactly to answer. Um,
Right now. Unfortunately, you can't hear that. Go ahead.
um, I don't know when exactly to answer.
Right now.
Between the echoes. Okay. But I don't actually think that's what he was doing. I think he was learning as he wrote. And the results of his learning go into the book. And they go into the book again to solicit the reader to learn too. So, in other words, he's not allowing us to use our knowledge that we already have. The results of his learning go into the book. He's developing a different way of writing that asks you to learn with him, to be curious. Allowing us to use our knowledge. He's developing a different way of writing that asks you to learn, to be curious.
Okay, let's try this. And after you hear this the first time, try muting me. I don't know if that'll work or not, but it's worth a try. I'd like for you to talk about objects that speak or are anthropomorphic in, say, Ulysses, Oxen of the Sun. You mentioned this in your introduction, and I'll read the passage. And in the castle was a board that was of the birchwood of Finlandy, and it was upheld by 4 dwarf men of the country, but they durst not move for enchantment.
Yes. Did you just mute yourself?
I want you to mute my feed, and then you just speak.
Yes. Did you just mute yourself? I stopped being able to hear the question after you talked about the table. Sorry?
Feed, and then you just speak. Yeah, the reading. Well, the question was, I just wanted you to talk about that sort of the writing, why he wrote like that, and
I stopped being able to hear the question after you talked about the table. Sorry?
hey, let's try this. I'm going to sign out. I'm going to log out, and you log out as well, and then we'll log back in and see if it's any better. Otherwise, it's not worth it to continue. I'm sorry. Let's try that.
Okay.
Log back out.
That is a wild passage, but what it does is.
Let's try that.
Right.
I'm going to sign out. I'm going to log out, and then we'll log back in and see if it's any better.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not worth it to continue.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
sure.
Let's try that. Log back out.
That
that handsome devil. Well, see if she can get back in. I wouldn't blame her. It works about 50% of the time on the Zoom.
It happens.
I'm from Paris.
Why me?
You know, the French Zoom is very unreliable. What's that?
We have a fashion show called The Day.
Yeah, we could do that. I'll start. I saw that, and now I feel bad because this is all. I had really good questions too. Really good questions. I read this whole damn book just for this. We'll have Julia pretend to be her and just make up an answer.
We can't get her back.
She's not coming back. I don't see it. By the time we get to Paris, all right. Doesn't look good. Atrocious effort, but thank you for your kindness. Yeah, it is too bad. I am very sorry. I did not anticipate the laptop security requiring me to have a code proving who I was. And so that's what led to all that. But as far as why it was delaying, I have no idea. I've never seen it do that before. So I was going to try, as Laurie suggested, texting the questions, and so we wouldn't get all the interference, but she apparently is not able to get back on. Stop it. No, because I understand. I'll be honest. I understood about 15% of it. It is the only more difficult book to read is Ulysses itself, in my view. No, the point of it, from what I gather, is that Joyce wrote in his unusual style purposely to stimulate our imagination and to get us to look at words and sentences in a new and fresh way rather than just reading mechanically like we sometimes get into doing. And we were going to get into why today people don't write. He wrote his manuscripts longhand, yeah? Imagine writing Ulysses longhand. We don't write much anymore, yeah? Not even the best of us, because we're using our phones or computers or listening. We don't read much anymore the way we used to. Reading an old-fashioned book, a lot of us listen to, which is fine, but the point is you kind of sometimes lose the soul. A lot gets lost in translation. Joyce invited you to bring in your imagination, so he described a table as four dwarves holding up this birchwood from Finlandy, so from Finland. Things like that, and often objects would speak in his book, and he would give you multiple perspectives from different characters of the same scene. He would do time jumps, anything to kind of get you out of the lazy way of reading A to B to C. And so you had to work. He made it difficult, so you had to work at the reading and the comprehension, and so it wasn't just another book, you know. And people thought that was show-offy or pretentious, so I was going to ask her about that. I kind of know she was going to say it wasn't. And so that's about all I can comment on intelligently. The last question was, Isaac Asimov once said, "Any book worth banning is a book worth reading." I was going to ask her, she would have agreed with that. Ulysses was banned in the United States. A lot of books are, on the, people want them banned all the time for various reasons, but, we, of course, here at the library believe in freedom of thought, freedom of ideas, and people to be able to read anything they want, including Ulysses. And I'll end on that. Thank you all, and I'm sorry how it ended, but hopefully you derived something of value today, and Melissa's still out there with hot dogs in case you need a hot dog. Okay, bye. Yeah. Indeed. Yes. If you just read it and not read it the way she just did, it wouldn't have the same. Jamie, your cat was superb. Superb. Yeah. Yes. And I do thank you to the readers. That was by far the best part of the program. No, seriously, well done. Everyone interprets it differently, but I thought those two did, for each part that they did, an excellent, excellent job. Thank you all. All right. See you next week.